Hello friends, welcome to the Abandoned Bank. I'm glad you're here. Sarah went on a vacation. She went to visit some family and friends. She's gone for a couple of weeks. So I've taken advantage of the time and completed a project downstairs here that was much easier for her to be gone for because it created a lot of dust. I've spent a lot of time in the last couple of days cleaning up dust all over everything. So I've rearranged things. I have cleaned everything up. This project started off pretty rough. I had my doubts. I had to scrape all of the plaster walls. Then I used a 20-minute mud and covered all the imperfections, most of the imperfections, filled in a lot of places. So now the walls look really smooth and clean. It's a totally different space. Let's take a look at what I've gotten done. This curtain that covers the entire wall is just a dust curtain for things going on behind us. This is our kitchen area now. I've put some art up. We'll talk about that a little later. Our kitchen is coming together pretty nice. All of our pots and pans, our cooking stuff, of things that we definitely don't want dust on, like silverware, cups and bowls and things. Our refrigerator, which is also our kegerator. There is beer in there. And we upgraded. We got this little refrigerator at a auction, or Sarah got it at an auction for $11. Can't beat it. Usually we'll pull that wood back and it is a nice view out to the outside. You might have seen that in other videos. But we keep all of our kitchen goods here. Shower, of course, that's not moving, it's very heavy. And then Sarah's area, her closet area back here. Still, continually, the outdoor shower area is one of my favorite parts of the whole building. It's getting better and better. The plants are getting huge. These hanging plants I got on Facebook Marketplace locally, and the local high school had a plant sale a couple months back. So we loaded up on ferns. I think this was $3 or $5. The upgrade that I did was added these two shelves. I just took a piece of stainless steel, had them round off the corners and chop it. Just a kind of a wacky piece sitting in the storage. It looks pretty good. Good enough for soap and shampoos and stuff. Maybe a plant or two. The philodendron hiding back here is looking really good. It lost all the leaves over the winter time, but grew back just fine. Beautiful little area. One more addition to the space is on this shelf. We found this tile with a bird on it. So it found a new home on that shelf. Sarah's plant area over here by the entryway is looking really good too. We've lost some, gained some. It's looking nice. I always like walking in and seeing that first thing. And we have here a giant box. That's for another video. It's a bed. And all of this separated by this very cool room separator that Paul and Kim made for us to spruce up this space and make this happen. It took a lot of preparation. Altogether, it was about 7 full days of working on that. But I'm glad that it got done. I'm sure that Sarah's gonna appreciate it when she comes back to not have such the look of an abandoned place around all the time. It does look pretty nice back there. I even cleaned off the ceiling and did some other things that, well, I didn't show you in this video. But enough of that for now. I am going to show you the workshop and some of the tools I'm using to make all of this stuff happen. But first, we're going to work on a project that's a little special. Welcome to it. Here in the wood pile, the storage area for all this scrap wood and wood we've taken down from the walls upstairs. Looking through some things, I got a pile of wood here in the back that I've stored for many years. I've towed it along different moves, and I had a good friend store it in Ohio for a long time in a nice place. Although over the years I've lost a couple pieces here and there, I've got a good stack of like black walnut, live edge, small pieces, some white oak, some pieces I don't really know, maybe ash, I'm not really sure. But I got a big chunk of black walnut here that I'm going to turn into something special today. Today's Sarah's birthday, so I want to make her something. I was inspired by my friend Paul, who made a couple of picture frames for us. Got them hanging on the wall over here. Got a picture of the area that I'm standing in right now. I'm standing right behind the teller windows, somewhere in that vicinity. No, maybe I'm in the hallway where I'm at. Anyway, it's a cool picture, great picture frames. I wanted to make something cool and thoughtful for Sarah. So I'm going to turn this piece of wood into, hopefully, a pretty nice picture frame. Got a picture of us from a recent trip that I'm going to put in it. So let's get started. Here's some of the wood up close. This is the piece I'm going to be using. I originally thought this was black walnut, but it's not. It is oak of some sort. Very old oak. All this wood is very old. I got it from a special place. This is definitely black walnut. The bark is gone now. Here's another piece. Oh, well, that bark's now gone. Sometimes I like the look of the bark left on, but most of the time I like the edges just sanded down, smooth. Kind of like this one in the back here. Here's some other planks I've saved. They're pretty thin. I'm not sure what a good use for these thin boards would be. They're long, pretty wide. If you got any ideas, let me know. Here's a nice piece of black walnut. Nice. Oh, you may not be able to see it so well with the lighting. Really nice pieces though. They're sanded up. I bet they'd be beautiful. Found two pieces I'm going to use. Just a little section of this one. It's a different color. Not sure what type of wood it is. Doesn't really matter. It's going to look good. From here, got to make some decisions on measurements. I want to put a 5x7. It's actually 5 1/4 by 7 inch picture in the frame. So maybe, but let's say 6 1/4 by 8 inches will be the opening, which means the frame will be roughly 10 inches, somewhere in there. So just making decisions like that and going for it. Beautiful wood. We got the first piece I'm going to use to cut the long sides out of the frame. We might be able to get all of it out of this piece, but I doubt it. I'm going to run it through the joiner. Before today, I had never used this joiner. I had seen it in my grandpa's shop when I was a kid. Seen my dad use it many, many years ago. I don't think this has been turned on for like 35 or 40 years before today. I ran a couple pieces through it just to see. And it was interesting because a lot of the sawdust or the chips, from the shavings, I guess, came falling out. And they were shavings from the last time it was used when my dad or grandpa used it. But I inherited this machine along with the planer over here. And while we're at it, I'll just show you around my shop. There's not much to it. I've gotten a lot done. In fact, I've got some windows over here that are being worked on. I'm building the sashes again and some other parts and pieces for the windows. That's all in process, as you know. But this is where it's happening, right here. There's not much to it. This is the shop. This is it. You're seeing the entirety of it, plus the pile of wood, my long ladder storage. That's what you got. I got my table planer here, the joiner, the router table back there, my dust collector, which is pretty full. I need to empty that. Grinder. I got this at a free sale. I don't know if you even call that a sale, but that was given to me at a place. I got some wood storage back there. I could do better at that, but I don't have a rack. And I got my trusty old Craftsman bandsaw there. I'm sure, the good Lord is watching over. And here we have the table saw and the miter saw. This is where it all happens, my windows and project. I also have my desk here. This is where I do my computer work most of the time. Well, that's not quite it. I have some hand tools over here on this big pallet rack. This is where tool storage is. Some supplies are over here for the job. Some of that's hidden away behind some wire and things like that I'll be using for future projects. This may look a little bit like chaos but it's not. It's very organized. Here's my section of stuff that probably is the most chaotic looking, but these are things that I'm currently working on, little tiny projects. Got a lock here I'm removing the paint on, little things. Then I have my plumbing, electrical, I got my backup propane tank. Up here we have tools like my drywall tools. I keep all that in this bag. This is clamps of all sorts, my tarps for painting. Here we have a sander of some sort up here, and just other miscellaneous things. My welder is back here. And then up top is all my homebrew equipment. Be looking forward to Saturday coming up with a buddy. We're gonna make some beer. Got more stuff over there, but that's more like cleaning supplies and sewing machines and stuff like that. It's not tool related. Then I have here my rolling carts. This one contains like regular hand tools, some power tools in there, things I use often. The other one is just drills, drill bits. And then we have here the Purdy paint box. That's got all my painting gear in it, except for drop cloths. I keep that in another box. It's got some really nice paintbrush storage. The joiner I'm about to use, it's a Delta Rockwell. It's an old machine here, handmade. I think that my grandpa or somebody made this, a vacuum attachment. And it's got old Craftsman half horsepower motor. Seems to be working fine. Everything's moving and shaking. The purpose of this joiner, I will tell you in another video some more details about how this works, but basically it just squares up the wood and prepares it for a trip through the planer over here, which we're not going to do because it's missing a motor. It's getting some work done on the motor. So this will do for our project today. I think it's square enough for this project, and with some sanding, it'll be just perfect. One cool addition to the shop that I must mention is this very handy remote control power unit, the Long Ranger 3. It's what I control the vacuum with. That makes it very nice to not have to get up every time you want to turn that on. So here's a trick that you may know already, but if you don't, here's a good way to find the center of any board. It doesn't really matter, you just pick any number. So we're gonna go with 4. You use this as your pivot point, go to the number 4 mark, and right in the middle, number 2, there is the middle. And that is gonna be your dead center of the board. There we go. And when we flip it over, there's gonna be a gap because of how I cut this. Wasn't intending on this, but I think it's gonna look pretty cool. So I cut this piece of heart pine, exactly the right width. So when I put it in the clamp, we're gonna have a nice tight fit in this different color that'll be protruding. I think that's gonna look really cool. I've clamped it up. Doesn't look pretty, but it will eventually. This is how it turned out. Just gotta cut these chunks off and sand it down. not what I intended. I'll have to work. Something I do to make my own wood filler is save the fine sawdust. You can put it in a little grinder if you want to. I've done that many times. I have one that I use just for sawdust, a little shark grinder or a coffee grinder is just fine. But this time I just collected some sawdust from hand sanding. I don't need very much. I'm going to use this waterproof glue. It takes more glue than what you think. You want it to be really fine sawdust. You don't want it to be thick stuff. It is a little bit darker when it dries, typically, than the wood, but I'm okay with that. I like a little color variety. Got these corners that chipped out when I was cutting, so I'm just going to fill it in. I've got this old piece of glass that was broken. It's part of the 6 panels that were in the back windows here. So I'm going to practice. I've got this glass cutting tool picked up at Ace Hardware. I called up my grandpa to ask him how to use it because he did a lot of stained glass back in the day, and he did a great job at it. So I trust him on his advice with glass and pretty much everything else in life. You know, grandpa is the one to go to. But we're going to try it on this. I've never cut glass in my life. Let's see how it goes. Just a practice cut. Okay, I think I need a little bit of oil. I think I need oil, yeah. Got this sewing machine oil. It's a Zoom Lily White. I'm not even really sure how to hold it. And I think if I remember right, Grandpa said you do this. Yeah, there, cool. Well, that's not so hard. All right. 5/16. Okay, 7 1/8. Hard to tell where it is. All right, sweet. Now this glass is pretty clean. I think it's going to be a really nice, it is actually a perfect fit. I'm surprised on the first try this worked out. I like that it's got a little character, although I'm going to clean up this old green paint that's on the side, the original to the building, and this glazing that's left on there. I'm going to use some WD-40 to clean that up. And I don't know if you can see on camera, there's a little bit of a unique mark right there. I'm sure that this is original. It's very wavy. I don't know if it's hand blown. I don't think it's hand blown glass, but there is some bubbles in it, so maybe it is. It's very old. I love that we can use it with all this special wood. This frame is turning out excellent. It's a little better than what I thought. It's not at all what I thought, but it's turning out better than what I thought. I can't wait to get the picture in it that I had printed out and show you that here at the end. But next we're going to put on boiled linseed oil to protect this. I'm not going to put any stain on it. I just want the beautiful wood grain to come through. So we're going to use this linseed oil. Got to be careful when using this linseed oil. You want to just take care of your rags. You don't want to let them sit around. It will spontaneously combust. When oxygen hits it, it heats up. So if it's on the wood, it's not going to do that. But if you have a rag and it's crumpled up and you put it in a trash can, well, it's very likely going to catch on fire. We're going to use it very sparingly. On the windows, I used a 50 mix of linseed oil and turpentine. and that gave a nice protective coat. Linseed oil is simply flax seeds pressed. It's just the oil from flax seeds. Very natural. Boiled linseed oil has some chemical additives to it. So there is a little bit of unnaturalness to it, but it's typically a very good product to protect woods. It's looking pretty good. Next thing I'm going to do is rub this beeswax on it. Everything I'm doing here is just all natural. Well, minus the chemicals that are added to the oil. Just going to cake this stuff on. Never done this before. I did a little test spot. Turned out okay. I got this beeswax for about $6 on Amazon. Came in a package of like 12 of these bars. That is really nice. Wow. I love it. This is not professional level. I'm sure after I did, 5 or 6 of these things, I could, make it more efficient, make a better one. But for the first one, I think it's turned out really good. I hope Sarah likes it. Found this box of old upholstery parts. They were my mom and dad's. I think they were working on some projects together. Some window parts here. About, I'll say right there. There we go. Looks good. Sarah and I on a recent trip to a foreign land. That was a good day. Just noticed in the light when I was walking back up to it that the glass is really wavy. You can tell it's really old. That is cool. I think this frame turned out really good. It turned out better than what I anticipated. I think Sarah's gonna like it too. When I was walking by earlier, I saw the shimmer from the glass. You could tell it's old because of the waviness in it. And when you get right up close, the air bubbles, you can tell that it's part of something old. The nails that I used in the back were some of my dad's nails. He passed away many years ago. The wood is from my dad's stock of wood, my grandpa's stock of wood. I told you it was really a special wood. Well, the reason is we've had it in our family for a long time. I had a relative that had a farm right next door to a fella named Bob Evans. Bob had a sawmill, cut up a lot of wood from the farm. This is actually wood from the Bob Evans farm, up on the farm from where I'm at right now in Gallipolis, Ohio. And we've had it around for a long time. I've never used it. I always wondered, what was I going to use that wood for? I wanted to save it for something very special, and this is it. So using even the heart pine pieces from our floorboards that I took apart upstairs and some of the lumber from the walls, that is what's used in these little corner pieces. It turned out great. I like the use of all the stuff, and I'm sure it will be around for a long time. Now we're going to fill this other picture frame that my friend Paul made that inspired this project for Sarah's birthday, and I know exactly what we're going to do with it. To get the picture printed, we're gonna take a trip down here to the library. Use this photo paper. Print it up. I was just noticing how nice the Tidwell Jewelers sign looks. Looks a lot better up there on the building than it did all busted up in the corner over here after the hurricane. The library is conveniently located in this building, this historical building, right across the street from Riley's on Main. Some of the best food in town. And the new Genealogical Society is right next door. That's a really cool place. Got it. This is the frame that Paul made. Black walnut, looks like. Very nicely made. Even made the mat too. Put a very nice hanger in here. I added this one up here. It's not as nice, but this is a very well made picture frame. Very nice. What a nice frame for the oldest picture of the Bank of Johnston that we have been able to find. This is what we saw online. We Googled it the first time. And I noticed here that the windows are boarded up. The same boards that were soon to take off. Doesn't look much different now. The sign's still the same on the front. They got a Coca-Cola sign. It says laundry, I think. A little grainy. I had to blow it up bigger than what it liked. But what a great picture. Two great pictures. The other art in here is this old 1889 championship football team from Princeton. Edgar Allan Poe was on the team. Not the American writer, his great nephew. He's one of these guys. It's a common misconception that Edgar Allan Poe played football, even because it wasn't invented until about, I don't know, 30 or 40 years after he died. What I like most about this picture is that it was taken 1 year after this building was built. This kite was a part of an exhibit that I facilitated at the studio at 620 in St. Petersburg. Did a couple of those kite exhibits. This was a gift from one of the artists. Beautiful kite. This peacock and this owl are things that Sarah picked up. I love the owl. I like the peacock too. I think it's pretty cool. And then there's this piece, this magnet that my friend Brian Keating and John Luter made at Kite Man Group down in Orlando. They gifted this to me. And there it sits for now. There's the art in the room and the best picture of all. Thanks for joining me today, friends. I appreciate your company as we took a little diversion away from working on the windows and made this cool gift for Sarah from some very special wood. I really appreciate your company. I'll see you in the next video.